Okay, so let's create our first calendar. Let's show you how that works. So the first time you click on New, it asks you to name this calendar setup. And so we're just going to call this New Calendar from Wizard. We'll leave it at that. Let's do client-side script, and it gives you some description on what you need to do. So this is a descriptive name for the calendar. This is a description that's just used within Calendar Builder. We don't really need it for anything else, but it gives you a reminder of why you built this particular calendar. And then this is how you want to implement the calendar: client-side script or server-side async. The next question is, have you already set up this particular calendar that you're using? Have you already set this up within Calendar Builder? And I'm going to say I haven't, because I want to show you how that's set up. So the first thing it asks you to do is open up your database. It's just opened it up. In this case, it was already open, so it just brought it to the foreground. And it tells you set up at least one of your users with data entry privileges. Now this is a sample file. This ships with Calendar Builder and with soSIMPLE Calendar. And all it's telling you to do here, and it gives you specific instructions, and I should say there's also a full-blown help on, there's full documentation on the web, so you can get more information there. And what this is all is telling you is you want to make sure that somebody has FMPHP access. And it'll say right here, full access, data entry only, read only. You can go right to extended privileges and check off which groups have that access. You can get more information about this on our website if you're having trouble doing this. So, in this case, it's just the admin privilege set. Okay, so we did this step. So I'm going to go next. Now it says copy and paste our sample script. So I'm going to copy the calendar script to the clipboard just by clicking that button. Takes a second because it's just loading that script. Okay, I've copied this to my clipboard. I can now go into my own solution and paste it. I'm actually going to do that and then erase it just so you see what the process is. And the reason I'm going to erase it is because I already have it. Right? So it's basically going to paste all this stuff in here. If you're using Advanced, you can do it this way. If you're not using Advanced, what you would do, and this is again documented on our website, and there's a link to that everywhere, on every page inside Calendar Builder. There's full documentation on our website. You can link right to it. This pasted in the script. It appended a 2 to it, to the name, because these scripts already exist. And the most important one you'll want to note, and I'll go back into this in a little bit, is called soSIMPLE Calendar Actions. And I'll show you how that works when we get to that point. I'm just going to remove these because they're actually identical to what's already in there. So it still works, as I said, even if you're not using FileMaker Pro Advanced. Then I'm going to open up Calendar Builder, and I'm just going to click that next button on here. And this button basically brings up the data source window. And I get to say this is, well, I can name this whatever I want, my wizard, my database from the wizard. And of course you're going to name it whatever you want, but I just wanted to point out you have this control. Alright. I also wanted to point out at this point we have, this is where you would set up an iCal in the source. And all you have to do is paste in the URL for that, and now you'll have a source that will show up on your calendar. So you can put holidays in there, weather in there, any iCal published source. This is a FileMaker source though. And so when I go to FileMaker Database, it'll show me what windows are open right now. That's why it opened it before, because that way I can show it in this window. I'm choosing calendar data. Which layout do I want to use? I'm going to use data fields layout. And that's the same layout that I have showing here. Account name is going to be admin with no password, single server. And what single server basically is for, the reason that's there is that you can set this up on a multiple server setup in FileMaker Server. But in that case, you would type in an IP address of the FileMaker server. In this case, it's just a single server. Okay, these are your fields. All of the ones that have asterisks are required. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to choose start time, and that's just going to be time start in my solution. And this one, again, this is going to be your solution, right? So we're going to choose time end, start date. Okay. So this one actually doesn't have an asterisk, so that means that I don't need to choose it. So if I'm only using one field, I can skip it if I want. And I believe in this case I am only using one field. No, I have a date end as well. Okay, so I'll use that. That allows you to do multiple day events. If you don't choose it, you don't get multiple day events. So every single event has to have a serial number. Then you need the event text field, and this allows you to edit it. If you're using server-side async, you can edit the event right there. It also tells you how to save the event. But then there's another field, which is the event details field. And I don't know if I've been pointing out as you go along here, it tells you what you're expected to find in here. So if this doesn't give you enough information, there's also a web help button at the top. This is event details field, and what this is for, again, it's not required, but what this is for is if you want to apply special formatting or any other calculation result to show in your calendar. So for example, I want to make this bold because it's happening tomorrow, or you can add text to it. That's typically going to be a calculation field. I name that field in this case event as shown on calendar. So I'm just going to choose that. And then it gives you event resource field. Now the event resource field is, I'm going to choose resource. That's things like, you could be people, it could be staff, it could be room, it could be building, right? So these are different resources that you are going to show in different columns on your calendar, and that's the purpose of that. So I'm going to put that just as resource is what I called it in this solution. Show only records field. Okay, so there are 3 ways to filter what shows up on your calendar. The first way is right here, and this is an on-off checkbox. It could be a result of a calculation. I'm going to go back to that again. It could be the result of a calculation, or it could be something that you manually set. But this, if you choose this field in the setup, and you have this in your system, if this is set to 1, it'll show up on the calendar. If it's set to 0, it won't. This is the simplest of all of the filters. I actually skipped by the second filter before, and the second filter is the account name and password. If you don't have rights to see something, you won't see it on the calendar. And so you can purposely use limited accounts to show limited information. So that's the second filter to show information. We get much more refined than that, but those are the first 2 filters. Event color field. So this is a very, very simple way to show the header of the event. This is not the text of the event, which is the event shown as on calendar. You can do colors there. But the actual header of the event can also change color. And in this case, I think I actually have a color field. And in this case, it's manually chosen, but you can also make that automatic. In other words, make that a calculation. The last thing here, and it's set up as a default, and I would suggest not changing it for your first calendar, but you can have you can have multiple calendar action scripts. These are all the scripts inside my solution. I can choose any one of those. Here's that button again, copy calendar script to the clipboard. The purpose of this is that you can have multiple calendar actions, and this script will run whether this is client-side script or server-side async. Okay, so I'm just going to click OK on here, and we are done. I'm going to click Done, and I've set up a new calendar. When you're ready to use the calendar, choose your favorite Use Now button from under this soSIMPLE calendar. And that's what these buttons are. So here's my new calendar. All right, I'm not really crazy about that bright backdrop, so I'm just going to choose my teal backdrop again, which is my default. So this is our new calendar, and that's it. That's all it took to create it.